right, in this video we're going to be talking about a really cool feature that's called AutoFill, F-I-L-L. It's one of my favorite parts about Excel, I think. If I were to give you, let's say you sat down for the Sunday paper and they had a puzzle, and the puzzle was giving you a series, say something like Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. The next logical thing you would probably fill in is Wednesday, right? If I gave you 1, 3, 5, 7, you would recognize that I was looking for odd numbers and you would give me the number 9. So Excel has this ability in what's called autofill, and it's basically taking a logical series and filling in the rest of it. So for example, if I were to go here to cell B2 and type in January, okay, and enter it into the cell, I click back up on the cell. And you'll probably never notice, but the bottom right-hand corner of the cell has a little square in it, and that is called your fill handle. When you move over to that bottom right square, you'll get a skinny little black plus sign, okay? So if you hold down with your left mouse key and you drag down, watch what happens, okay? So I'm going to drag down to cell 10 here, and you'll notice that what it does is it fills in the series, January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September. Now that's cool, right? Come on, you got to admit that's cool. And imagine if you could also go this way, so you could pull to the right as well, okay? So that would fill to the right, doesn't matter. I'm going to delete those because I need that space for later. You can also do things like just, let's say you did just Jan, right? And if you filled Jan in and you pulled it down, it would do the abbreviations, okay? You could do QTR1 for quarter 1, right? If I were to pull that across, watch what it does. Now, you know there's only 4 quarters, right? If you ever watch a football game, or just by quarters itself, you know there's only 4. It will just repeat, so it would go back to quarter 1, okay? So you can play with this. There's so many different things that you can do when you're filling in a series of numbers and etc. Now, if you were to, let's say I wanted to type in 101. Oops, sorry, wrong spot. Let's say I wanted to type in 101 up here, okay? So if I do 101, and I see that skinny little plus sign in the bottom right corner, okay? You know, here we pulled it down, right? But what we're going to do here is, because we have a series that goes down to row 10, and I'm typing this in right to the right of it, Excel recognizes that I probably only want to fill it down to row 10. So rather than dragging it down, I can go to that little fill handle and I can double click. And by double clicking, what it will do is it will fill down as far as row 10 goes. So watch. Okay, but notice that it didn't make it 102, 103, 104. Instead, what it did was it, in effect, sort of copied what I had there. Notice this autofill options box down in the bottom right corner. See it? It's has a little drop-down arrow next to it, which has choices. So the first choice is copy cells, which is selected, which is exactly what it did. It just copied 101 all the way down. But I wanted to use the fill feature, which is to make it 101, 102, 103. So by clicking Fill Series, I can then flip it to 102 through 109. So you can see that's kind of a cool little feature there. So when you're doing fill, you can either go skinny little plus sign and drag down, or if you have a range that it can match up to, then you can go up to it and double click, okay? And you will need to know about that autofill options area, because you'll need to use that as you're going through your assignment, and you just click on the arrow there to do that, okay? One other thing that I wanted to just quickly mention, I gave you the scenario of odd numbers, right? So if I were to type in the number 1, okay, and I were to fill this down, again, it would do the whole copy business, and I'd have to tell it to do fill series, right? But again, that's not giving me the odd numbers that I want. So I'm going to undo that. I'm going to try again. All right, well, if I wanted to give it odd numbers, then what I have to do is give it 2 numbers in the series. So I need to give it a 1 and a 3. Okay, so now I've given it a 1 and a 3, and I need to highlight those. So not fill, but highlight. So I've highlighted the range E2 through E3. Okay, now I'm going to go over to fill, and I'm going to fill down. And you'll see that what it's done is filled in with odd numbers. This honestly is a little bit more advanced fill than probably what you need for your homework assignment, but since I had mentioned that as an example, I at least wanted to show you how to do it. Okay. And then the last thing I just want to show you quickly is you can fill to the left. And so what I mean by that, I'm going to scroll down here, and let's say I use my January example again. you can fill in this direction, and you'll notice that what it does is it decreases basically. So I can fill up or to the left, and that will decrease my filling. All right, so hopefully you enjoy fill. It definitely will save some typing in the long run. I encourage you to play with different things that you can fill. So like period 1, period 2, fiscal years. There's a lot of different fill sequences that you can do. And you can even build your own custom fill, which we'll learn a little bit later. So hopefully you've enjoyed this.